Well, this is
Um,
actually one reason why I always get frustrated when talking with atheists and other people who criticize religion is they don't understand the degree to which people were serious and sincere in what they were
eh,
doing.
absolutely.
They truly don't understand how
They
seriously
think that
people are taking
collusion
this.
is just the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And when you actually like I have, remember I sent you that YouTube video of that YouTube channel Tooth, and he
Oh,
does yeah, he actually sounds like you, that guy. But
oh,
he like not in terms of like the way you speak, but like your
yeah,
actual voice. But
yeah,
he talks about Thomas Aquinas and just kind of the ideas and how they're grappling when he formulates some of their ideas. It's like this stuff is not like children's play. This is like high
yeah. It's not.
scholarship. This is like the
Yeah, it's
height
not
of
trivial
scholarship.
at all. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
not trivial at all. No, people. My understanding is that most people hate trying to read Thomas. I mean, I think Thomas. I'm gonna end up buying his Summa Theologica books eventually one day and reading them because I stopped by the library and I was perusing them and I thought that they were very interesting. I just don't have the time to read those things right now. But yeah, I mean, my understanding is that most people have a lot of difficulty with reading, say, Aquinas. But
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm very blessed in this regard. I mean, it seems like a lot of people have a lot of difficulty reading and understanding Carl Jung too. But I could just pick up his books and understand exactly what he means. And I think it's just because the the essence of my intuition and the structure of my personality makes it so that I was already predisposed
Yes.
to looking at the world in that way. And he was just giving me the words to name the nature of the way that I look at the world.
Yeah. Well, I think it actually comes down to something like the size of your cognitive schemata.
Yeah,
And this goes to what I always talk about with the size of your language that you use to resolve concepts and to make
sure.
perceptions. And the
Yes.
size of that language has to do with this number of disparate experiences you have and disparate languages. And I mean disparate in the sense that you can do two. It actually has to do with that kind of like the idea of linear independence,
Right.
where if you have two vectors that are linearly dependent, then you're not really getting any new information. But then when you allow them when you make them separated in some way, now they have the capacity to
Yeah.
map an extra dimension. Yeah, and so you can't do a bunch of linearly dependent activities that all look different, but they're all pretty much the exact giving you the exact same data.
Yeah.
And typically, if you do, I mean, and not typically, but if you do things that are disparate, you're going to be doing them from the mental faculties and the language and system of perception that you had prior to
Yep.
gaining the new language and experience, which means that those things are stitched together at
Yeah.
that
Right.
at that point. And so you're
Yeah.
literally taking you're unfurling, you're doing an
Yeah.
unfurling, which increases the dimension that you think in. So
Yeah.
then when you're given
Yeah.
someone like Carl Jung, assuming that the experiences you've had and the languages you've learned are true, sincere languages that have actual logically sound structure, and you've actually connected them
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
coherently, then when
Yeah.
you're given another person who's thinking at this deeper meta level with their large cognitive schemata, you can immediately start to map it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and this is what I mean when people don't understand when they're reading when people are mocking the Bible. It's like you are almost walking up to someone and admitting that you have no that you're shallow. Like you're
Yeah.
almost you're almost walking up and admitting that you have no capacity to comprehend what's in this thing. And like I hear Bill Maher talk about it all the time, like he's always laughing
Yeah.
about it. It's like you might as well just get in front of everyone and tell them that you don't know how to read. It's absurd. And like like to me, I think taking the Bible and just laughing at it as being stupid nonsense is equivalent to someone giving you entire works of Shakespeare and you're like, this is stupid. This is dumb. You're revealing something about yourself that is
He
not
probably
good.
did say that, right? Like you can imagine Bill at 17. All right, we're gonna read
This is
every
stupid.
day. And why do I need to know shit about Tao? Like,
Yeah. So I know that
stupid.
this will
Stupid.
probably trigger a lot of people, but that was my experience with the Bible was, I was raised Christian. I was an atheist for a good period of time.
Mm.
And while I was an atheist, I told myself, or I actually did, start worshiping science, reason, and logic and truth.
Yeah.
And these were the things
Yeah.
that I worshipped, and nothing was more important. If any time anything threatened these ideals, I would sacrifice that part of myself without even a second thought. Anything that didn't align with them was worthy of being purged.
Yeah.
And so getting my PhD in physics brings you in relationship with the spirit of truth as it has been manifested through the works of physics and mathematics. So
Yeah,
then when I come across this Bible and I start reading it again, or I start reading it for the first time actually, and I start looking at it, and it's like, okay, well, there's a lot of really true things in here that I'd be an idiot to reject. And then as
yeah,
I use this cognitive schemata I've developed to analyze and break it down, I'm thinking to myself, this thing is insanely deep. Like, what is going on here? And it's so mind blowing that I start thinking, like, where did this thing come from? Like, and then you start actually start considering, is this really divinely? Like, where did this come from? This thing is insanely deep,
yeah,
and and I think that and that's part of one of my goals is like I think that through my relationship with Christianity, I'm taking this cognitive schemata, which is my physical, math, rational self that I've developed, and I'm
yeah,
stitching that world together. But then when I went and studied Buddhism, it's like, wow, Buddhism is insanely deep. What is this? And then they're being connected, and like the mediator, the thing that allows me to map between them is this mathematical thing that I've constructed, which is the point to the podcast. Like I'm trying to communicate this soul, this spirit that I've developed over time,
yeah,
and my hyper focus on this meta level zero data or the things that are obvious is because I want to build a bridge such that the things I'm saying are so obviously true that you
yeah,
to reject them would to
yeah,
reveal yourself as
yeah,
being dishonest or delusional or shallow or something's wrong with you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's great.